show us the result. Oh my god, so crazy. Ah, it's so good.
I made a blonde version for it as well, but it's a lot easier to hide things on dark hair. Way easier.
That's so crazy.
Just get
so
away
beautiful.
with.
Yeah. Just make it black. Yeah. Must have taken you a long time. Or maybe not. Okay, fine. Yeah. I mean, you're like, no, Laura, I've done this so many times. What are you talking about? This took me like
I'll show you
an
how
hour.
I've done it.
Please do.
So we got the references, and then I made some zebra sketches just to get an idea of about where it's going. And I started with the scanned head. So this was the start of it. I knew I wanted to have some patterns there, but you see now they were different. And just a blob of hair to get an idea about the volume.
Yeah.
And then...
Would you say it's good advice to always start with a sketch, by the way? Like, I know that once you're an expert and, you know, like, you can cut that corner if you want, but it's like, if you're talking to someone who's a junior, would you say always do a ZBrush sketch, first of all?
I think it's a good idea because it gives you an idea about the overall volume, and then you can take this into whatever program you're using and use it as a guide for the cards so that you don't struggle with the cards. Because if you place the cards and you're working on it, you're working for a day, and then you realize, the volume is not right. I need to move stuff in. I need to make adjustments, but that creates cards intersections, and then you need to fix that. But if you have this as a guide, then that cuts down the room for error.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. For me, one of the biggest issues I had creating hair was that issue of volume. It's very easy to add too much volume to hair when you're creating hair. Mm-hmm. It's like you just make hair that just looks like a fucking, like someone's got a 1980s like hairspray filled like haircut there, and you're like, oh shit, I need to reduce that. You know, like it's so easy to get the volume wrong when you're placing, and you have that tunnel vision. You're placing one plane at a time. You're not really thinking too much about the volume, especially if you don't have the like volume that you've defined at a time. It's very easy to get that wrong, you know. But when you do a sketch, like you're saying, it's like volume. You can figure out the volume that your haircut is supposed to fill ahead of time.
Yep. And this can be more detailed as well. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. But in this case, for me, a rough one was enough. I added a bit of detail in it just to get an idea that there's some clumps of hair overlapping, and maybe put some stuff on the dreadlocks. In the end, I changed a bit the position of the dreadlocks. I don't think I have this one here anymore. So this was the next one. And then I got the awesome head that you sent me. This is the best head ever. And this is...
I was going to let you take the full credit for that, but sure, thanks.
No, it's not mine. But yeah, it was awesome. It's awesome. So yeah, cool. The hair, this is the stage that I left it at, the hair. And then I thought, put some accessories on it, and I blocked them out so that there's some, I don't know, techie, whatever. And then for the patterns, let's see if I still have layers for it, because I wasn't sure about the patterns either. Well, I don't think I saved them.
How much time do you spend on sketch?
Not much, really. I think it was maybe, I don't know, I think it was a few hours. It was more for the cap to figure out this, because at first I had that other pattern that was here. And then I made another one, which it was basically just lines, just putting lines there to see what it looks like. So that was more. But for this sketch, it's not too much. It's not a tricky one to do. I made the sphere, then I pulled it, and I just made some lines in it. But if you go more into detail and start adding flyaways and stuff, it can easily be a day or 2 days, depending on how complex it is and how polished it is. So it can easily take some time.
Yeah, but that still is pretty fast, 1 or 2 days. I mean, I think there too that speaks to your own experience, but
I'm no ZBrush expert. I know there's some people who do it a lot, do it fast. But
Yeah.
and there's all of these insert mesh brushes which help speed up the process. I don't have one loaded here, but there's plenty of them on Gumroad, for example, and there's just a bunch of cylinders basically, and they have different polygroups to them. So then you can move them individually and create these clumps of hair. So those are really, really useful for hair.
That's how you created those dreadlocks, I assume. Or not?
The braid was definitely an IMM brush.
Yeah.
And these, I think it was that, or either that, or I used the snake brush and just pulled it out and fixed it.
Oh, right. Yeah, but that could have been created using an IMM brush that already has that kind of texture on there that you're looking for. Yeah. Like the thing about Sketch, right, is that it's within the name of it. It's a sketch. Like the idea isn't to do a final version of it. It's just to get the idea down so that you kind of know where you're going afterward. And people think that it's like, oh, but that it's going to take me a full day or 2 days or 3 days to do this. It's like, yes, it will, but it will probably save you even more time down the line because you're going to be doing less figuring out when it will actually be a lot harder to do those iterations there. Because when you're placing the low-res polygons and stuff, right, it becomes very complicated to do changes. Whereas in this case here, you can actually, and I love that you have different versions of this haircut too at the sketching stage. Like you've shown us a few different versions, a few very slightly different designs and stuff. So you're really thinking through everything related to your own personal design, and really making sure. I feel like that you've really figured out the actual design before you really move on to creating the actual low-res that will be used in the game.
I think like you're saying, it's about the efficiency of it, because there's not really much point in spending a lot of time doing something tedious to then need to redo it because because it was wrong, and it's just you can solve that by doing this quickly.
Yeah. So those IMM brushes, I guess like I have seen. Do you know where people could get that braid, by the way?
I think I got it from Gumroad. Braid brush. I'll find them and I'll find some links. Because if I Google it, never mind my tabs. But
oh wow, that is interesting. I'm kind of also. That's
it's possible that they got. This is the one. They're not loaded here, and I need to clean up my computer, so I don't want to keep you waiting for me to scroll through my folders.
But there's also something like I'm sure you know about this, but people may not necessarily know about this. There's such a thing. I mean, I assume that thread still exists, but on ZBrush Central, there was something called the IMM repository, like thread or like super thread. If you type in like ZBrush Central IMM repository, like there was like this thread on ZBrush Central that was like pages and pages and pages long, just of so many, that one, so many different IMM of different styles, of different flavors for different things. It just keeps on going forever, and there's so much stuff in there. That's interesting,
Oh wow!
And there are braids. There's so much stuff in here. There's such a crazy amount of stuff, and like it's all free. So like people should go and just snag everything that's there, because like forums, they're probably gonna disappear at some point. So people should just just grab everything that's there while it still exists, because this is a gold mine that a lot of people may not necessarily know about.
I didn't know about it. This is so cool.
There's so much shit in there. There are a bunch of braids in there too, I'm pretty sure, at some point. If you just go through the pages.
Wow. Oh, look at that.
I know. They may have gotten rid of the concept of pages there, but yeah, you can see there's at least like 600 different posts in there. There's so much shit in there.
Wow. I'm definitely going to scroll through this.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Oh, there's shoelaces in there too. Oh my god! Like these things have been there forever, right? Like if you look at the timestamps, right? Like I can't quite see clearly, but I think it says September 12th. Yeah, it's been there for like almost 10 years. Yeah.
Damn.
There's so much shit in there.
Oh yeah, this is great. So yeah, find some
Find some braids,
hairbrushes.
yeah. You don't have to pay for them. Yeah. You can find some good ones for sure.
This one, I see this one is 0+ as well.
Yeah, that's cool too.
Get this one. And there's other like this one as well. So all these segments, they have different polygroups and they're actually like separate cylinders and you can move them separate. So if you make the big clump like this using the big one and then with topological on for the brush, you can move the polygroups and that then you break the flow of that clump and put some detail into it. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So that's the sketching stage pretty much.
Yeah.
So we get here, so we do a sketch, and so we move on from the sketch when we say, okay, I have my design down, I have my volumes down, I kind of know where I'm going, right? That's the basic gist of it?
Yeah.
All right. So what comes after that? This is all Dynamesh too, by the way, right? Like, sorry to cut you off there, but that's all Dynamesh stuff too, right? Like there's no crazy retopology, there's no nothing. It's all very dirty geometry.
No, it's just...
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, no carefulness happened here.
Show us the result. Oh my God, so crazy. Oh, it's so good.
I made a blonde version for it as well, but...
Yeah. You can appreciate more, I think, the hair, right? When it's lighter a little bit, yeah.
It's a lot easier to hide things on dark hair. Way easier.
That's so crazy.
Just get away with...
Yeah. Just make it black, yeah. That's crazy.
So yeah.
And you got the braids in there, and like the braids, you really feel that there's a very I don't want to use the word unkemptness because, I mean, you could say technically that's what. Sorry, not braids. The dreadlocks. Yeah, like there's such a crazy kind of variation in there. Like it doesn't feel like your dreadlocks. There's a repeating pattern there. You know, like you can really tell there's all these wispy hairs on them, and they all look very unique there. It must have taken you a long time. Or maybe not. I mean, you do. Okay, fine. Yeah. I mean, you're like, no, Laura, I've done this so many times. What are you talking about? This took me like.
I'll show you
an
how
hour.
I've done.
Please do.
It's basically cylinders wrapped in cards. That's
right. Okay. Yeah. So you start with a cylinder, which is like a very basic, I suppose, repeating texture. Maybe not repeating. And then you add little wispy stuff. Can we see the wireframe? That's like what everyone wants to usually. That's like the standard question that everyone has.
Yes.
Could you please show the wireframe?
Yes. Let me assign some materials, and I will show you. So that
I have so many questions for you. I swear I didn't take cocaine. I don't actually do that, but I kind of feel almost as if I did right now. Like there's so many things I want to ask you about.
Okay, for the wireframe, I'm not an Unreal expert, so if I enable it in the material, it shows the triangles and all, and I didn't like that, so I actually converted the edges on the cards into meshes and I imported it in, so that's the wireframe.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm kind of particularly interested right now in that dreadlock. You can see all the cards. Yeah. And they're all interpenetrating, right? It's like, I used to work with someone who was like, no, your cards cannot interpenetrate at all because it's going to create like normal problems and stuff. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, as long as the alpha looks, like as long as the end result looks good. And I mean, you can't make a haircut without having stuff interpenetrating left and right?
Yeah, it's very, 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 very difficult. They are intersecting a lot, but it's all noise anyway. So
yeah.
Never ever have I had someone complain about this.
So do you like, for a dreadlock like that, like, I know we have a set program that we said that we were going to go through and we were going to go through these steps in a very logical way. And here I am just throwing everything out. I'm like, no, Andreea, I want to talk about this. It's just that I have so many questions and they all seem interesting to me. So for that dreadlock, because I'm particularly focused on that right now, do you create that dreadlock in isolation as a sausage and then you kind of use curve tools to place it overhead? Or do you use a different approach for that?
Yeah, it started as a straight cylinder.
Okay.
And then I think most people use curves. I use bones. So I actually rigged it to a few bones and then I put it on the head. Curves are nice as well, but I found it can be a bit slow. So I just use bones because I don't know. I just found that works for me. And that's how I placed it there. And then I just duplicated it all over, maintaining the connection between the geometry and the bones.